All right, guys, so I just took you through the latest update for Diablo Immortal, but we did not go through all of the new legendary gear that we're going to have available to us, and this is exciting. I wanted to do it exclusively in this video, the video that just posted right before this one. It's about an hour on the channel as of right now. It talks about all the changes coming to Diablo Immortal, all the events, Echo of the Immortal, and so on. But we're here now to talk about specifically the where are we? Here we are. Where are we? Come on now. All the gear. All right. 6 new legendary items for each of the classes. I was not expecting this whatsoever. All I'm simply doing in this video is taking you through all of the gear for all of the classes, starting with the Barbarian, because that, well, that's my class, right? So a new slate of menacing weapons and fortified armors have been added to today's content update. Many of the legendary powers are centered around crowd control effects. Each class has received 6 new items, adding even more legendary affixes to hunt down and shake up your builds. I love it. I was not anticipating 6 more for each class. This is a lot of skills that they're continuously adding to our classes. I'm not complaining. I'm just saying it's a lot for them to keep up with. Let's dive into the Barbarian first. The chest piece, called Armor Cased. Furious Charge creates shock waves when colliding with walls, dealing a certain amount of damage to nearby enemies and stunning them for a certain amount of seconds. So we have Furious Charge. It already does that type of a stun, but this is some other way of using it. I'm not currently using Furious Charge, but we're using Leap instead. But this change is coming to Leap 2. We'll check that out in a minute. Grinning Effigy. We have a headpiece. Taking during Undying Rage now triggers counterattack for X damage to all nearby enemies. Cannot occur more often than once every so many seconds. So another thing for Undying Rage, making that skill even more powerful. I like that. We have the Haughty Behemoth. Leap now knocks enemies into the air when you land. Now, Leap already stuns enemies. This is going to knock them up in the air. So I wonder if you rock both at the same time. Not sure that you can, if it'll stun them and knock them up in the air for even a longer stun. We'll have to see. It seems that one is a little bit of an overlap of what we already have. The Hewer, which is a main hand weapon. Grab now causes you to charge forward and grab the first enemy you hit. If you successfully grab an enemy, you'll carry them for a short distance, damaging enemies you run through before leaping into the air and slamming them into ground, damaging and slowing nearby enemies. Man, grab needed a change, because that's on, it's on my charm. I never use it, and I don't use it because it stinks, right? It just doesn't really work, doesn't do much. But now maybe it will. I can't wait to try it out. We'll see what this does. It definitely has more of an effect than it has had in the past. We have the Steel Lamprey. Chain Spear now marks enemies for a certain number of seconds and heals you for a certain number of damage it causes to marked enemies. So that's cool. Chain Spear going to get a little bit of a buff. It needs it. We have Wreck Fall as a shoulder piece. Whirlwind also reduces all damage you take by a certain percentage while channeling. Now, I typically go for skills or gear that enhances my damage as a Barbarian, not something that's going to make me heal or make me have more life. So we'll see if that one gets any use. We do have the Crusader. We have the Batterhithm. I cannot pronounce any of these, I'm sorry. It's an offhand weapon. Condemn damage increased by a certain percentage for every enemy hit, up to a maximum of a certain increased damage. I like that. More damage for a big character like a Crusader, that's a good thing to have. Flare to Mirror, which is a pants. Draw and quarter is now electrified, damaging random nearby enemies and stunning them if they are shocked 3 times. We have Hard Censure. Condemn now calls down a thunderbolt from the heavens to a targeted location, dealing continuous damage. It's the second one for Condemn right there. We could be seeing this used even more and more, being able to use 2 pieces of gear to enhance the same skill. That's big. Shining Aster. This is a shoulder piece. Increases all damage you deal during conjuration of light by a certain percent. Suspended Rule, a main hand weapon. Sweep Attack now throws the flail, forming a cyclone that picks up nearby enemies and carries them away. Cool. We have Zeratus Husk. Shield Charge now grants you a holy shield while charging that reflects projectiles back to enemies, dealing damage on them. Cool as well, especially if you're being aggressive with your Crusader, which probably many of you are. I'm going to keep them up on the top of the screen in case you want to see more. We're diving into the Demon Hunter. Clutching Nails, a pants piece. Knife Trap now confines nearby enemies when triggered and increases all damage you deal to them. Decisive Report. This is a shoulder piece. Multi-shot now knocks enemies away. This cannot affect players more often than one time every 6 seconds. We have Scatter Mask, a headpiece. Activating Vengeance now immediately deals X damage to all nearby enemies and causes them to flee in fear for Y seconds. We have Spreading Shroud, which is a chest piece. Spreading Shroud, oh, they doubled that up. That's a typo, that's okay. Smoke Screen now throws a smoke bomb at a targeted location, dealing continuous damage and greatly reducing vision for enemies that remain in the area. The Thud, ooh, I like that name. Impale damage increased by X damage, X percentage to enemies with an active harmful effect. And War Generosity, every X attacks with explosive arrow generates an explosion that knocks the enemy away. Players cannot be knocked away more often than one every Y seconds. Demon Hunter, some new gear. Demon Hunter was the class that I was considering swapping to, mind you. We'll see. I like what I'm seeing there. I do like how it's hard for me to say since I'm not playing the class, so let's just leave it at that. We have the Monk up next. Assemble the Wicked Tonfa. Exploding Palm now gathers nearby enemies into a cluster, directing in front of you, maximum of 1 charge. That's such a nice, pull everything together. As they said, damage control and, crowd control. Fleeting Soul Tonfa. This is a main hand weapon. Mystic Allies now summons 1 spirit ally that rushes in a direction, dealing damage to all enemies it passes through and forcing all nearby enemies to attack it. Man, this is a lot of reading, but it's important. So I'm going to continue on. We have Fusing Crowd, which has had Mystic Allies now protect you, taking X damage of your incoming damage. X percentage of your incoming damage. We have Pacific Pledge, which is a chest piece. Taking damage during Shield of Zen has a chance to trigger a counterattack, dealing X damage to all nearby enemies. We have Shimmerlin. Wave of Light now releases a wave of energy that damages all enemies in its path and burns them. Now, I am not a monk. I'm not any of these classes besides the Barb, where I was able to give you a little bit more insight. But because I'm not playing these classes, I'm curious about what you guys think about these changes. If there's any skills or any gear that you see that are going to really enhance your build, let me know in the comments below so I can know which ones are really good. And if you like the video, if you like news for Diablo Immortal, make sure you sub and ring the bell. All right, we have the final one for the Monk. It's Tottering Tower Pants. Flying Kick now stuns enemies and can be charged to unleash a more powerful blow. Charging is something cool, but with the Barbarian at least, it takes time. And I don't typically like to have that charge time, so I will often skip the charge, as you hear my dogs in the background, sorry. Necromancer. Abnegation, Shoulders, Bone Spikes now also knocks enemies away. No, not more Necros just getting me stuck in PvP. We have Drifter's Fair. Bone Spirits now unleashes a powerful skull that wanders randomly through nearby enemies, dealing damage as it passes through the maximum of a certain number of charges. Empty Pants. Dark Curse now summons a cursed eye that forces nearby monsters to attack it. We have Ethereal Boundary, which is a chest piece. Activating Wrath Form removes all effects which cause loss of control and decreases movement speed. The Necromancer has 2 more. We have Inseverable 2, which is a headpiece. Your Golem and Command Golem now take X percentage of your incoming damage. Well, that's cool. Another meat shield. And Thrash Jaw, main hand weapon. Grim Scythe now hurls the scythe in a direction, striking enemies in its path and continues to damage, knocking them away. Grim Scythe can no longer have multiple charges. All right, so you knock it down to 1 charge, but you throw something kind of like the Hammer of the Ancients of the Barb, where you could throw your hammer and then go pick it up. Reminds me of that without actually testing it. And finally, the Wizard, which if I were to switch to a class, it would be either the Demon Hunter or the Wizard. Let's see how the Wizard looks, but first I need a sip here. Continuing on. Extraction Harness, a shoulder piece. Teleport now also removes the last harmful effect applied to you. This is good. You know why this is good? Because teleport was nothing that was like crazy special, right? I mean, it did, I like that you can really counter something that could really be damaging to you. Great addition right there. Fragments upon fragments pants. Meteor now drops several meteors in a direction, knocking enemies away and stunning them. Cool. Hailstone, offhand weapon. Ice armor now protects you with X charges of damage immunity that also chills nearby enemies when they attack you. So a slowing thing right there. Hailstone, very cool. Quiet downpour, a chest piece. Lightning Nova now launches a giant nova, bursting into smaller novae, which activated again, or when it arrives at its final destination. So you're getting like a double burst of damage. We have Shiversen Stare. Ray of Frost now freezes enemies for X seconds after taking damage from this ray 6 times. Or 6 times with the ray. I assume it's like 6 clicks of damage, like ding, 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 and then they get frozen. We have Staggering. I wonder if that's through the crystal as well, if those count, where it's spread. Staggernick, main hand weapon. Arcane Wind now knocks enemies up into the air with an updraft and stuns them, but no longer charges up. Okay. Wizard, some cool stuff. Groundbreaking, I don't know. Which ones here out of the entire list do you think are the biggest ones that we saw here today? You guys know I'm excited about this update. It's looking really good. And new events, new PvP, 36 new pieces of legendary gear. Let me know your thoughts down below, which ones you think are the best and which ones you think are maybe just something that you're not going to care too much about. Looking forward to seeing what you have to say. Remember, I went through the entire update in my previous video, put out just an hour ago. Go have a look. Click on my channel on the main page. It'll take you to all my videos. We have a lot going on there. This is my 3rd video for the day. Crazy sauce. Hope you enjoyed, guys. Have a great day and be good.